Welcome everyone to the not 101st, 201st weekly live stream thing. I don't know where
Whoa.
we've been. I think we fell into like a Christmas coma or something.
Oh
Some
yeah.
sort of
I think
dimensional
everyone
snowfield.
has.
There was
Everyone's trying to get back to it.
yeah, Fluffy beat us up with candy canes. It hurt a
What?
lot. I was in the hospital for a
No, that was
while
my evil
because
alter
the
The
hand.
ego.
stripes. I still see the stripes at night.
Oh God!
It was my evil alter ego. What did he do to you?
And with that disturbing news, we'll kick this off. As you can hear, we got the Bean Queen herself, Allie Claw,
Why, hello.
and there's a raccoon buried in the corner somewhere.
I have some Ola Toby.
Hi, Fluffy.
Hello.
And of course, he's back again and again and again because
You
he's
just can't
the
kill him.
living dead.
Brains?
It just keeps coming out of the ground.
We
Yay.
can't keep him away, so we let him stay.
Can't stop, don't stop, can't stop the beat. Bah!
Everybody.
Alright, let me
Black-
try and find who's this top left-hand corner of pictures. Because in case you don't see, we got a lot of
That's a lot.
pictures. You know what that means, guys? You guys weren't doing your jobs.
Wow.
I need you as a subreddit to critique people. I know it seems like a lot of work, but it
It
really
doesn't have to
isn't.
be daunting.
It's like 5
can
minutes.
just- You can
It's
just be
mutual
like,
beneficial.
even if it's just a little thing like, hey, I think this back leg should be moved over a little bit or something like that.
Bam.
It's fine.
You know, it'd be a cool, like, not official rule, but a cool one, like, to live by when you post on the subreddit. Before you post work to be critiqued, you have to first critique someone else.
That would
Whoa.
be good.
Just
That'd
It's
be
like
really
a ticket
helpful.
to enter.
You would have no work if that was the case, so that'd be a good reason to have no work.
Be the best
Exactly.
reason.
The stream is just meant to be like the leftovers after. Look how
Yes.
many leftovers we got.
Instead, for the last while, it's been the all.
Yeah, the everything, the continuum of critique.
But that's enough complaining. Let's get on with the horses.
Nay.
First horse up, top left-hand corner for those who are playing and not staring at my screen. It is by I
Like
Am
us.
Kitty 0187. I don't think I did lighting and shading right. Help?
Help.
It is a difficult thing.
It very much is.
I do have some critique for this.
Go for it.
The
Pew, speed round.
the good thing about this, well, actually, this a little bit more complicated, but I'll get to that. The good thing about this is it feels like there's a very strong light source, and that would be the circle itself, because it seems very glowy. So everything's coming from underneath the pony. The issue is that the light is coming from all around her, all directions at once, including from the candles as well, which are a minor light source. Candles aren't that bright, but they're still a light source. So they're coming from all directions around her, but they're coming from underneath. I can't remember these arrows. They're going up this way. So we basically get this. If you imagine the ring being like a light she's standing on, all this light is coming up like this. It's also coming this way from these candles. So this is what figuring out lighting and shading is about. It's just figuring out where are there going to be shadows, and what you can do is go at it that way and figure out where the shadows are supposed to be, or you can shade everything and figure out where the light is casting. So I'll go through the first method first, which is just like, okay, so I think like on the wings here is a good place to start. There would be very obviously a shadow casting the back of the wings here. You've done a good job here with this. That's good. Yes. So it's just a matter of like sort of building that up. Like maybe it should be accentuated a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit more shadow on the top of the chest here. And then it's on the head. We've done a little bit on the head already, so that's pretty good. So let's do these ears. Just really accentuate that there's a light coming from underneath this pony. Sort of doing that the underlighting you get when you shine a torch on someone. That's what's going on with this.
Or a flashlight for the rest of us.
I forgot you have a weird name for it.
How is it weird?
No, I just forget that you don't know I mean flashlight when I say torch. Yeah, so it's doing this, and then we go. So these are sort of the inside of the legs, so you could actually say, okay, so some of the there's less light getting to these. These shadows will probably be a little bit less thick, but there will still be some shadow there. Because there is light going like between the leg and going over here. But that's not. But it's not as much because this leg is still going to be blocking light from going this way, and vice versa.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah, the other method is just like shade everything, and then just go through, and just like erase, and just be like, okay, so this light is coming here, so I'm gonna just paint where the light is coming on these feathers, and on the body. So it can be easier for some people to sort of figure out where the light is coming from as opposed to where it's being blocked. So you're more directly looking at the light and actually painting the light onto the character.
Painting onto the character.
No, just make me think of like, I don't know, babysitting gone wrong with the CMC and they paint all over the babysitter. That's the first thing that came into mind.
Kitty, my Crusaders painters, yay!
The babysitter, wait up, what? Oh no! What have you done?
I think that was one of the ones they did, though.
Well, they did do like Applejack not wanting to leave Apple Bloom at home alone, which is probably why they don't have a babysitter.
I mean, based on their track record, that is kind of wise.
I don't know if this lighting's actually okay. I'm just drawing cool shapes at the moment, but you get the idea, I'm sure, of like how to paint light. That's about all I had.
So they did make a comment about the eyes are supposed to be white and glowy, like very, very bright.
Aha!
If they're brighter than the other lights hanging around them, like that red, glowy stuff, magic-y stuff, let them take over. Don't the brightest light is going to be the brightest light, despite what everything else around it wants to be. So, I mean, feel more than free to let it take over the rest of the picture.
And if I might offer a suggestion, alternative to do you mind if I erase Fluffy what you just did?
I was just gonna do glow.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say,
now I can
if they
erase.
want the red color of the eyes, if they want a bright red light, I think they should keep that eyes that red, but they need to work on making it like, all I can think to compare it to is like a lightsaber. Go and study lightsabers because they're shiny, they're like
Yeah.
ultra bright, they're like, it's neon. Look at neon in a tube, and you can use that to the eyes to really
Yeah.
make them that like
So I will
crazy
try.
pop.
Oh, in fact, maybe I should just increase the brush size because I did do a little bit. I used to play Jedi Academy and make like lightsaber mods sometimes. So you get familiar with the graphical appearance of them. Yeah, I did not do this very well, but you have the white, and then you would have sort of like the faintest like glow around that. And this is a lightsaber blade, by the way. And then under that there would be like the color. Like, make this a bit bigger. Yeah. So, like this. That's like if you want something like super bright. If you want this pony to wield a lightsaber and become a Jedi or evil.
Yes.
Ponies with lightsabers do make pretty cool art. I can't erase that now. Oh, it's not there for. Oh no! Software, is it? But yeah,
And
you
don't
get
be
the point.
afraid to have that light from the eyes like hit the hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe hit that some of the cheeks, the nose.
That's
like
some
it's
good
gonna
looking
be if
stuff.
you want it intense, it's gonna be intense.
That looks good. I would recommend this.
Touch the tip of the horn somehow.
Yeah, just like a little bit. It's sort of fainter the further away it goes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really bright.
Yeah. Look at those
It will roll.
lightings. Those hard lightings.
Let's see, what's the color with the legs shadow be? It's sort of like kind of an orangey because it'd be like, well, mostly red. Depends how bright the circle is meant to be. I'm just sort of thinking of the candlelight as well. Yeah, painting with light is fun.
Get some in the hair. Just, places.
If you're afraid of painting with light because it's taking over your picture, throw your picture into grayscale and take a look at that. You can get a pretty good idea of the balance of the light that's hanging around there. And what that, well, as I said, balance. Your darkest darks, your brightest brights will show up very clearly, and it should be very obvious if you're, like for instance, the glow from the candles are more intense than the glow from the eyeballs, and it's a very quick way of correcting that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. And the because the candles are sort of placed evenly around the pony, there's a lot of the light source is sort of repeated, so I think the light is going to become very diffused. So like if we just sort of like, how do I get back to my pen? It's not letting me do that. Okay. If we were to go onto this leg here and say, okay, where's the light source falling from this leg? It's coming like directly from the side, and it's also coming like from the front. If we're looking at these like 3D arrows, but so like you'd think it would be sort of like cast on this side and here on the front as well, but it's also not totally in shadow here because like this light is also sort of hitting a bit of that. This light is also sort of going to be hitting a little bit of it. What it can get past the leg. There's also sort of these back one, like there's a general ambient light around because there's multiple light sources, multiple small light sources. So the shadows on the leg and the highlights on the legs will be a little bit softer, like on the body and everything as well. It's mostly when you get up to, I keep getting lost in my pen. Once you get up to this top part of the wing and stuff like that, because these are behind the eyes, so they won't get the glow from the eyes. They also won't really be getting much from the candles because there's no light source directly contrasting on the wings at the back there, and the same would be true of the back of the body as well, except we just can't see that. So, those would be the only parts that would have some thicker shadow. So I would darken those a little bit. Just illustrate what I mean. Yeah. Just increase those shadows. Maybe a bit more than that. I'm just trying to color pick. So yeah, hopefully you get the idea of our ramblings. Hopefully it helps you in the future with determining light and shadow. It makes it a little bit easier for you.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the next one.
Sounds good to me.
It'll be the King Somber Pants.
Ooh.
Ooh, it's all wispy.
And this is by Goddamn Cat.
Goddamn.
King Somber from one of my last commissions.
Coolio.
Wow.
See, his robe's got the white fluff. He's got the Christmas spirit.
Yeah. He's lost the back of himself a little bit.
Spooky ghost. He's the ghost of Christmas past.
Yeah. He's
All right.
spooky umber pony.
They
so I don't know if
don't
this is
have
something
any
umber ponies can do.
questions. And the only comment is about being naughty and the coral design in the background.
Yeah, that sort of throws my eyes a little bit. On one hand, it does sort of differentiate the character from the background, but I think that they're talking about these sort of like shape they've got going on here. I think it because it's too sharp and fine a detail, it sort of almost wants the eyes to place the whole background as if it was like a shape like this around on top of the character, because it's like a little bit sharper detail. Naturally, the brain, I think, wants to view things in detail first. So the sharper something is, the more we sort of see it, because naturally things in the background will bend away. So you've got everything in the background here blurred. So that is perfectly reasonable, especially because you got this kind of like drop off. Although you could make that a little bit smoother. I understand these are really hard to do. These sort of like making the background blur gradually. I don't really know how to do it very well, but it does sort of help to differentiate where the character is, and if the background's just blurry, then it makes them stand out way more. I do like the color, like the sort of monochrome color you've got going on there. It's very bleak and sort of makes everything feel like a sort of distant, dark memory, which sort of fits with the Sombra motif. And it makes him pop very, very well. I would personally lose the texture, or maybe like blur it. Just enough that you can sort of maybe still see a little bit of detail, give it like sort of break up the tones a little bit, but just not let it be so sharp. Just my personal opinion.
So my big thing is the facial structure right now. You've kind of lost the form, the mapping, like that 3D mapping you kind of throw on an object
Mm-hmm.
when you want to shade it to really bring out its 3D appeal, even though it's a 2D thing. Um, so when looking at his face, I see multiple planes happening and multiple light sources that I'm not seeing elsewhere. Like all this light over here, I'm wondering where that's coming from because what I see the light very much coming from the front. And when you look at planes, like if I were to draw this muzzle as a box, boop, boop, little 3D guy going on here. Well, first of all, I'm getting a line that goes back to his eye, so that's just something to watch out for. I know muzzles can go inward, but right now you have this line, this whole line telling me that this muzzle goes back like this. So I'm kind of losing that where it connects back into the middle here, this little bridge area. But as far as the lighting goes, it's right here and right here are having the same colors. So usually that happens when they're on the same plane, but because they're not, we're getting a different hit of light. Let me get a different color really quick. So if I go with this really dark blue, so right now you want this to be the darkest. You want because this is the underside of where the light's hitting, because the light maybe is up here more. So, and then we get a mid-tone blue. The mid-tone blue will probably be over here because again, you want the light. If I go with the high blue, the light is hitting up here. So having that differentiating color will help build that 3D feel of the muzzle itself. But the thing that really is breaking it is just the under anatomy. I feel personally. Let me get green back in here. That's a good color since it's all red. So just be careful where things join up. It's perfectly fine to have these muzzles, and I enjoy the stylization for his character because it's kind of like got this like evil baddie. I get a wolfish vibe, which I think fits with his character, and the horse's muzzle is longer, and this is much more of a masculine muzzle. I feel so that works for me there. But it's just really be careful where it connects because I see you. It's almost you probably sketched it like this, but because of how you shaded it there's just this long, weird plane of existence going on right here. And that just feels like it's all one to me because of how much you have going on here and all of it's kind of colliding in the face. It feels like there's a lot going on and a lot of different lights hitting it. So I would just next time be careful of how, because there's a lot of detail in the face. So just be careful about what planes on the face the light is actually hitting and how the planes on the face connect. Because, yeah, right now with the thickness of the muzzle, it's going right through his eye. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that face.
I ain't got nothing to add to that.
Yeah, otherwise it's gorgeous. I really enjoy the lighting and how you do the armor, especially.
I like your style.
All right, shall we move on?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
All right, let's just keep going to the right.
Sounds good.
It's a bird.
Griffcraft.
It's a push bird.
Starwing the bird proposed a toast for New Year's. Oh, proposes a toast for New Year's. The words.
They're hard.
I don't know the shape that griffin front legs have. Do they have a question first?
No. Why would people have questions for us?
I can't see because...
My first big thing is watch your proportions. The things that stick out to me first is this claw and this claw are two completely different sizes. And I know it's hard to
yes.
juggle between the two. Like you have one doing a human-like gesture and the other is more feral laying on the ground. But still, be wary of your proportions of those. And if you put them next to each other, would they make sense? And also same with the sizes. Like we got a really nice big griffin arm here, but it's then smaller, like a small bird there.
Yeah.
I think overall, if I were to send you off with something, is be wary of, I'm repeating myself, I know, but be wary of proportions. Do checks, you know, measure with, you can even use your thumb. Like if you held your thumb, I can't demonstrate this live, but picture me holding my thumb right next to, I don't know, the hand, the first claw with the drink, this one here. Boop boop. I'm holding my thumb near it, and I'm like, okay, so that's what it's like compared
That's
to
the
my thumb. And then I go down here to this claw over here, and it's like, that's not right. And I go between the two. Or you can
thumb.
even use your pencil and hold your
So,
pencil to see a length. Like, oh,
yeah.
something
So,
seems off.
sometimes it's not even like that. If you're struggling, that can absolutely help. Like sometimes it's just a case of like I think a lot of people just forget to even look. But and I've done it absolutely. But like sometimes you just get caught up in what you're doing, and then you take a step back and look and realize that the legs are two different sizes, and it happens. It's just a case of actually keeping account of where you are and what you're doing. And if you do struggle with remembering to like look at the bigger picture and combine things together, um, I would like if you have two monitors, a neat little trick you can do is you can actually open up a second. I know you can do this in Clip Studio Paint. I don't know how to do another thing. I think you can do it in Photoshop too. I'm not sure about other programs, but sometimes you can open like another view of your canvas, so it's literally the same image, same canvas. When you draw on one, it draws on the other, and you can just put that on your other screen and keep that one zoomed out. Then you also get like the two different color um, profiles between your monitors, so you're not just relying on one, but you get to like work zoomed in on one and have the other one there to give you the bigger picture and make sure you're not getting accidentally lost in the weeds. But I know not everyone can do that. Not everyone has two monitors, and maybe your program of choice doesn't do that. But it's just a neat little trick if you do want to keep that in mind. Um, Otherwise, I think aside from what Ali said about the leg, which I'd already sort of started sketching on as well, I do think it was a bit too further over in the chest. It looked like it was sort of coming out in the middle of the chest. If you look at the way the anatomy is built, and look at the lifted up leg, so I just sort of tried to balance those a little bit to make it look a little bit more, so take that sort of 3D plane into account and try to twist the claw a little bit. Actually, place it on the ground. So we look at like where they're standing. It's like I'm trying to do this on the program. It's sort of standing on the. If you imagine standing on like a piece of paper, even then, like I've drawn the foot sort of where you put it, but if you that would be still sort of bending the leg inwards. And what you could do is move the claw sort of over here ish. Sort of really drive in that 3D appearance. Yeah, so like this. Because the rest of the feet are in 3D, so this one kind of should be too. I also don't really know anything about like griffin bird leg shape. Like if this was a pony leg, I know do that, but I don't know if the anatomy itself is wrong, or could use improvement. So don't take my my sketches as absolute gospel. Look up references. There's plenty of references you can find. But I hope our sort of our notes on ways of improving your perspective can help you with planning and building your image from here on.
All right, shall we move on?
Sounds good.
Yes. Rapid fire. We're going down now.
Let's just keep going to the right.
Oh, there is a new one. Yeah, that's right.
Last one on this line is
On this plane of existence.
but yes, is by RSR Gamer 27. I was convinced to try to shade this drawing, even though I'm not confident with it yet. I gave it my best shot from what I know, but wanted to ask for any helpful critique and pointers on how I should improve from here. This is the type of post I like to see.
Yeah. So we love this kind of question. We love this kind of post, and also I want to say like this, like yeah, your picture is not perfect. I think I could have definitely got a few notes, but I absolutely appreciate what you've drawn, and I think you're trying some really nice things. I see a lot of like my own like earlier art, even some sort of current stuff in what you've done. It's just a case of refining the sort of alignment of things and anatomy, but like I think you're doing something really nice. I like your ideas and the way you're trying to develop your style. I definitely want to see you continuing what you're doing. It's really good. It's just a case of and I'm sure you do this already, but let's get a little circle going so we can sort of determine.
I love those ears.
Yeah, that is. I like the pose, the positioning, yes too. she's sort of looking down, so I think it's not really a upwards position. There we go. It's hard to find a color. Oops, I flipped the canvas. Oh no. It's hard to find a color that actually shows up on this.
It looks like we have a mostly consistent shadow, like a consistent light source.
You know what I just realized?
The inside of this ear. Sorry.
I have a pony with this exact mane style and coloring.
They definitely stole it from
Like
you.
literally, no, because it's one of my few OCs that still has a design based off their original pony creator design that I then just like try to refine over the years. So like maybe this one was based off the same like pony creator mane and they just showed the same colors. I don't know. That or it's just like a coincidence. I'm not accusing you of stealing or anyone of stealing. It's just I was like, oh hey, this looks like my OC Sparrowhoof's mane.
Mousy, don't steal.
The terrible name she has is also credit to being a pony creator OC when I didn't really know anything about making pony OCs.
So I think the only two bits of light that would need some refinement is the inside of the ear. So the way I'm judging this is I assume your light source is coming from somewhere over in front of the head, somewhere up over here, like, but towards the viewer. And that's just based on how the lighting is landing on the face and landing on the mane. It seems to be the most cohesive light you have going on there. It's just the inside of that ear, you'd be actually catching more light inside of it. And then there would be a shadow cast from the horn from the direction of the light source. So if our light's hitting the front, we'd actually have the entire lighting switched around on that horn. So it goes where you have your dark, we'd make that light and we just, flip that, throw the shadow.
Yeah.
And I think that's all. Your lighting is good. You seem to have nice, strong shadows, and there's even some soft edges that are going along that make a lot of sense. You're definitely along the right line here. Keep pushing it. Push it further. Go with more light, like more light sources if you want to get fancy. Throw some color on the shading, because shading and highlighting with colors is so cool, and it looks so cool.
Trying to do some sort of shaping on the eyes here. I might not be doing this very well, but I've been sort of trying to put some emphasis on learning the sort of like eye socket shape and how to build that like 3D depth. So I'm sort of doing a little bit of that there, but you don't have to. I was also flipping the canvas, non-accidentally this time, while I was working on this. So that's an important thing to remember as well. Is flip your canvas every now and then. Otherwise, you end up in some trouble when you realize it looks really weird backwards. Which is something I'm pretty sure all of us have done. The LD would mostly be when he holds his up to a mirror.
Yeah, I just hope for the best.
Sort of emphasize some twist of the neck here. Yeah, you got some lovely stuff. It's just a matter of just like neatening up alignments of things, pulling things a bit tighter. And you're good to go. I just super love your style, and I love your way of thinking and constructing drawings. Good.
Okay, shall we move on to the next one?
Mm-hmm.
Just blasting right through these. Rolling around. Oh, come on, pen. Come back to me. There we go. Alright, we're going to do the horse under sombra. Where did it go in my list of horses? Seriously, where did I put it? There it is. It is by Lemon Small. Drew a headshot for a friend of mine's OC. They submitted 2 pictures on the same day. We just chose this one because I clicked it first. Overall, not bad. Like your pencil lines, nice and smooth. It looks like we can even see variable pressure going on here. So you are definitely doing a swoosh, like a long strokes. You aren't doing. to get all the way down that line. Wonderful. That's great. You have some good shape going on here. I can see your undersketch. Thumbs up there. Not even going to complain about the fact it's on graph paper. Is this what graph paper looks like now? I don't know. The point paper. I think the only thing I would give you as a suggestion at this point to help quickly improve your art, get 2 grades of pencils. I know it looks like you probably did this in school or something, but carry around a few grades of pencils. I love 4B, 4H? 4B, yes. 4B and HB, and then 2HB. It's just a good step ups in hardness, so I'll do all my sketching in that under the 4B because it's nice and hard. Nice and soft. Wait, no, 4H. Yes, 4H. Yes, the hard pencil is what I want. 4H is hard. And it means it puts less graphite on the paper, and that's very good for those under sketches. It makes it wonderfully easy to erase, and even if you don't get it all, it's very dim, so it doesn't really show up compared to the harder lines of the HB or 2HB, which appears most of this is done with just by the darkness of your lines. That'd be my suggestion on that point. There might be a bit of adjustment you want to make to like the positioning of your ear and mouth. Your ear is positioned very much like a dog's, the top of the head. Horses actually have them moved back quite a bit. They hang around here. Woo! On that half. So I mean just woo, sticking it over there might help a bit. It'll declutter the top of the head at least. And as far as the muzzle goes, because you already have your circle here, I'll just steal it. Appears to be a male. I would just suggest just taking off a bit of that curve that happened at the end, that curved outwards. It makes it for a very long bottom part of the jaw that makes it look like they have a massive overbite. Massive jaw sticking out, like some type of hillbilly thing. I would just take a power sander and just grind off the bottom of that chin.
Ow. But yes.
Yeah. That's about all.
I agree.
This is a very good picture. It's like you seem to have your technique down as far as handling a pencil. You got stuff there, Fluffs?
Yeah, I just want to say, it is something that, I mean, if you want to do it more like the show style, it's absolutely fine. But the show style ignores the idea that eyeballs are 3D and will turn when you turn your head. So, like they just have like the exact same eye plastered on the side of the head. But remember that eyes have a 3D shape. So I would just personally do it more like this. So I always make it a point to always draw the whole eye first, just right off the bat, because that's really easy to. It makes it much easier to actually get the shape right. And then you can just like make sure you just imply the rest of the eye like this, and then you can have the eyebrow like that. I don't know, however you want to do the expression, but yeah, eyes will typically sort of have a bit of a flatter, triangular sort of shape from the side, like this. So yeah. Otherwise, that's about it. By the way, the reason why Ellie is so quiet is she's gone to put something in the oven. So.
Because people are allowed food.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's almost like people are organisms that need to eat.
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, next one over. It's by Mr. Brickenwall. Went over a piece in grayscale, but I feel like I'm not sure how to get it looking more natural. Well, not a horse. No. I think your answer here is continue refining your shading. So you've blocked in a bunch of areas, like the top of the mane hanging around here, the bottoms of the jaw here, especially when it comes down to the shoulders and that. I think it's a time to start blending, smudging, blurring, and just making your shading and highlighting more homogeneous words, making it more consistent among it. So you're going to keep with the hard edges because hard edges happen in shadows, which is evident by every shadow that you look at. They'll have soft to hard edges depending on the light source that they're dealing with. Large light sources like the sun tend to make all hard shadows. Smaller light sources like your desk lamp, as you get closer to it, it'll create a hard shadow. But as the shadow casts longer, it'll become softer and softer. So as I said, it depends on your light source and what is creating it and how it's being cast on it. But I would just start attacking that more with a hard brush and a blending brush to sort of just bring in the rest of it. And it's going to help you create the areas like these cheeks where it's going to slowly roll over from that light to shadow. It's going to create more of a bubble shape. You can either work on it here, or one of the things we like to poke people to do, and you'll see it on Draw a Box too, do simple shapes with it. Spheres, donuts, squares, dodecahedrons, whatever it takes. Yeah, it's more of a time to play, to figure out how to use your tools for doing that.
I think one of the things that I sort of I started just by sort of like looking at the alignment of like the face and the snout and everything, just to make sure everything's sort of sitting in a way that doesn't look like it's twisted off to the side. But I also think I realized while sketching, one of the things that I think sort of bothers me a little bit is the head looks very, very short. Because if you look at where I've done like the pink lines, that would be sort of where the head skull would be coming out. I don't know if you could even maybe make the ear a little bit bigger, but the ear was sort of coming out of, like, if you were to draw the whole eye, the ear was sort of coming out of the eye. So I just moved that over. You might even want to move it up and over a little bit further. It's up to you. But the skull will definitely be a little bit higher. So I moved it up and sort of I tried to keep the shape, but might not have done that exactly. But just bear in mind that there is something under that mane. Otherwise, yeah, just neatening up the shapes a little bit. You don't have to agree with everything I drew, though.
All right, shall we move on to the next one?
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Ah!
Wahaha.
I was about to make a joke of like, I'm gonna summon a third artist to help us critique. Kadabra.
Boom. Ah, I'm born. Who am I?
I'm born with the knowledge of art.
So this is by No. Ooh.
What?
I like the name.
Think I might need to spell
Ooh. Like
Oh.
any critique? I know the horn is a little wonky, but I was using pen and couldn't fix it.
Yeah, I know the feel. Absolutely understandable. Well, bear in mind that this is a traditional piece, and you probably won't be able to fix a lot of things. I like this. I do see this sort of style, this sort of like sideways muzzle going on here. I do see this a lot. If you look at it, it's like this is the muzzle, but then it's like going sideways. If you were to look at it from like a 3D perspective, it'd be like this. And then like here's the rest of the head over here. So like if it's a stylistic choice, it's absolutely fine. It works as a cartoony thing. If you did want to go for a little bit more of a realism, you don't have to change much of the shapes you use. You can still go for this lovely long muzzle. It'll just be a case of just adjusting a little bit of like where everything's placed.
The
So to
whole.
speak.
I know we probably haven't done it in a while, but the whole. I need a different color than green. This isn't working.
I'm gonna put the fade layer on because like this, it's really hard to get a lot of things to it because there's so much detail in your inking.
No, I for sure. I love that you did this in ink. I think it's
Great,
always
it's
fun,
great.
and artists should experiment with doing things in ink because that is the whole not being able to undo or fix or erase it's a good thing
It
to
opens
push
you up
yourself
a bit.
through. And just because something doesn't turn out the way you want it
That's my
to and you
opinion.
can't fix it doesn't mean, it's not the end of the world because that's just one drawing. You're going to move on and you're going to do another drawing, keeping in mind anything that went wrong in this one or things that went right in this one that you really like. You got to be able to let go sometimes, and I think ink really can help with that, which is I think another reason why
Yeah,
Inktober became so popular because the whole like
I s
working in ink challenge.
yeah. I mean, sometimes traditional is just easier in general. Like I've been trying to make some for a while now. I've been trying to make like a D&D map, like a dungeon, and it was like it's easy. It's helpful having it on the computer because I can literally just have the layers and like know how to align everything immediately, and also it's just like easier to experiment with stuff. But I think having it, I moved to doing it in graph paper, and I've made a lot more progress. Like I think it's just a lot easier to not get overwhelmed and confused by everything when it's on paper, and it's easier to actually physically draw it. Um, I don't have much else in the way of like anatomy because it's a pretty amazing drawing.
So for
It
me,
makes it very stylistically.
the legs have a few broken bones going on them, stylized or not. We have some weird curves happening, and oh, I got this fluff. I was just talking.
Okay, that's fine.
Um, so basically, I'm totally loving the nice long leggies.
Yeah.
I'm actually a fan, especially these big thighs. I love them. But this here, we're kind of it's more of a bend, like an elbow you have going on, where for horses it's not quite that. Everything here is a bit too curvy. If you ever look at a horse's joints, they do have those curves, but it's almost very knobby and sharp. I
Mhm.
know it's a weird way to describe it, but those are the 2 words I can
That's
think of.
totally
They're
accurate.
knobby and angular, maybe that's better than
Yeah.
sharp. But, so having bends like this kind of make it I don't know, something feels off. It's almost too round. There's too much rounding happening, especially
It
going
adds
from
an
here
extra joint.
yeah, and an extra joint. Um, but as far as I can see, I don't have a skeleton in front of me, but you know what we can do and you know what you can do next time? Go ahead Google. You don't even need to follow it exactly, but get that bone structure. I'm just gonna go ahead and Google horse skellyman.
It's getting me.
Skellyman, just like
There's
no, I'm
there's lots of nice breakdowns you can find. I mean, I used to have a couple. Some of the ones I had were for centaurs, but you know, same thing. I remember I had one from Phantom Inca, just to give credit. So you can look up. He had a centaur one, which had just a basic sort of outline of. I think he had one that it was like the bone structure, and then like the sort of like a more complex bone structure, and then like a muscle structure, and so like that really helps. There's also like just actual pony style ones that do exactly the same thing, just in a different, more chibi proportion thing, like the show style has, but it's otherwise
there's
the
one I
same
really
bones.
love. I'm pretty sure the artist erased it sadly or deleted it, but there's this one tutorial where it's comparing a real horse's anatomy to the show style's anatomy, so you
I
can
remember
kind of
seeing it.
see like how it translates betwing the
Yeah,
two. Ah, I really
'cause
love it.
it all comes from real life.
It does. They're
Yeah.
surprised they're horses. But the joints we have going here, I don't know. I can't think of how to describe it. They don't. Something feels like got lost in translation here.
Yeah, I sometimes something only has to be a little bit off, and
Mhm.
I do think that's sort of what, 'cause yeah, it's definitely something about this bend here, and I think just sort of trying to take away a little bit of the sort of bendy. It's very sort of like it sort of like wiggles like this, right? Um, or even it's like this,
Mhm.
and I think that's what looks wrong about it. So I think trying to sort of tighten things up. I'll erase mine so you can go back to drawing a sec, but
No, no,
um.
it's okay.
It's a lot of artists put a huge emphasis on making the heart there go super sticky outy, but it doesn't really need to be most of the time. Uh,
No, I actually like and
it
this
can
is
work, but it's sometimes it gets a bit too exaggerated with some artists. Not necessarily saying that that's what's happened here, but like it can
oh no, no, totally. And no, I was just about to say that I like having a longer leg and sometimes I mean, I don't have any concrete style, but something I
yeah.
find myself doing is I kind of combine a horse with a cat. And that is that there's a lot of different joints going on, but there's some different things going on between a horse and a cat. And I won't go into depth because I know we have more art to do, but
CPC's got some absolutely lovely like pony leg style going on her art. I'd recommend looking up Cute Pencil Case. She's really really good with her legs. She draws with her legs and it's amazing.
but I think the major thing, like if we can, so if this is your thigh here, right? I want to give that thigh its own moment, and then I'm gonna break the next piece, your next joint, into its own, you know, there. That's
Yeah.
its own joint going on. But then we have the next piece, which is the leg itself. So, and then that gets its own, and then the hoof, and we got big hoofies. So I'll give it a nice big
Hoof.
hoofs. Because that's where this bend is. That's just a nice big hoofs. There's nothing wrong with a big hoof, but yeah, back here, if we can get some sort of oh, that's not eraser. Some sort of, form going. So it bends out that way, okay. And then we have, it's almost like it's lifting up too high. You know what? That's what it is. Okay, it all clicked in my head. So you have this thigh here. This thigh here is really stretched out. And usually when you see a leg this bent up, like almost parallel to the body, the thigh is also in motion. You can't just move. Okay. It's all sorry about this. It's just clicked in my head. This
Allie, I
bone
think
is moving and nothing else is moving, and that's why it feels weird. Where, we're looking for like the big crunched up thigh, burp, burp, and then out. So it's like
yeah.
that's why you'd have such a big curve going on here instead of what you have going on. You didn't crunch up this thigh here. So that's why this feels so weird. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're gonna bend something, the whole leg moves together. It doesn't just like horses don't just bend their one leggy out. It all usually moves together.
I'm just doing some doodling down here, just showing sort of like the bend and stretch. It's the same thing
Nice.
with as in with faces, it's like it doesn't just like stuff doesn't just move around on the pony's form. If something has moved upwards, it's because the muscles are pulling it upwards and they're pushing everything above it together and stretching everything below it. So it's worth taking into account how legs will bend and stretch. So yeah. Yes, that's white and white. Great job, Si. Yeah, so there we go. Hope these little leg shapes here help you understand that a bit better. Huh? I flipped the canvas.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Hopefully that was helpful. If not, please leave a message.
Comment,
After the
like, subscribe, hit the doobly doo. Don't
Draw
forget to
over that
join our
bell.
Patreon. No, wait.
But yeah, because I'm paranoid, I just do want to explain that. That's why this leg feels broken, is because you have doing two different actions at once. This is part of the leg. You got to have it move with this one if you're gonna have such a big bend going on.
Yeah. Sometimes it just takes some brainstorming to figure out how a picture is working.
Yeah, we're not
And
perfect.
that's what we're here for. Because sometimes it's hard to like figure out something on your own, and sometimes it's helpful to get second opinions and get people to have a look at things.
All right, next.
Next is the Pinkie Pie. All the way on the left.
And it's Pinky on the moon.
Here on the moon.
So this is by JJ's Workshop, Pink Side of the Moon 2, drawn on my Wacom this time. I didn't
It's a
draw the
great album.
fishbowl. That was a PNG I googled and pulled off the internet, drawn using Krita.
Okay. Did you draw over it? Or,
Do they have any questions or?
No.
Okay.
I like that the mane is so like squished up inside the fishbowl. That's a good little touch there.
For sure.
Yeah. You could even have like a little bit, so because she's got like a really like poofy mane, you can even have some of it like trying to squish its way out of the bowl here, like all the floofy mane is just like pinched up.
Can't forget her other little hoofsy. Yeah, you'll probably see her
Yes.
other hoofs poking out here, just like this one over
Absolutely, yeah.
Unless she lost it in the war.
here. Not the Moon War, where she
Yeah,
fought
Moon
over
War.
cheese, and then they became lovers, and that's how the pony ends.
So,
Is she kissing
one
the
sec.
jar
Getting a
as
phone
her?
call.
Is she
Gotcha.
like? I don't know if
Gotcha,
she's like
gotcha.
if she's like actually pressing her muzzle up against the side of the fishbowl, or if it's just that you like sort of run out of room with it. I'm gonna just sort of move her back in a little bit there. Let's have a look at this eye as well. So if you something will help you a lot is if you draw out the actual shape of the eye. And bear in mind, I said this in a previous critique as well, but like the show doesn't do this; they ignore this rule. But we have like the eye. I'm trying to get the circle right. There we go. The eye from the front. That looks really creepy. There we go. And then from the side, it will be sort of more like this because we're actually looking from and this is sort of very accurate to real life. If you look at sideways pictures of people, you'll see their eyes sort of go more like this with the eyelashes there. So draw the eye shape first, and then say, okay, well they've got their eye. Like maybe she has like sort of like half-lidded eyes, and you would do this. And so okay, here's the eyes, you know. Or she go full eyes, like yay, his pinky, she's awake. Or you can go with what you've done here in this picture, and she can be doing like little sleepy eyes. So it's just a case of drawing where the eye actually is, and then you can figure out where the eyelids are.
So they said they did this on their Wacom. I'm not seeing any telltale signs of pressure sensitivity being activated.
You should use that.
I am wondering what application you're using.
Krita, they said.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
So Krita has pressure sensitivity.
Yes.
It should be a selection, but actually, do I have it installed? No,
I do, but I'm not going to open it right now.
I don't have it installed. Yeah, it should be just on your pen settings. Make sure that's enabled because it is going to take the large blobs that get made on the end of lines, and it's going to turn them into, well, what Fluffy is right here. These little pokey bits.
Yeah.
Pressure is a major bonus if you have the option to use it. And you said you're using a Wacom tablet, so use it. Use it and abuse it. You have between 1024 to 5048, I think was their highest one they released. Honestly, the scale of them doesn't matter at that point. You're going to get pointy
You're not
bits.
going to really notice the difference, but yeah, the point is that you will just be able to have pressure because it just basically means doing this. You can see how my line is getting thicker as I'm pushing harder on the pen, and it just makes it so much easier. So instead of everything just looking like this, you get these nice thin swooshy lines, and it makes it way easier to make things look nice.
Yeah.
Here's a hoof. Here's another. Oh, that's terrible. That was you try to do everything in one stroke. It makes everything look nicer.
So definitely go and have a good time using that. You might also want to. Your lines look very smooth, but it does look like you were going slow and deliberately on them because you can see a little wiggling down on some parts of them. Don't be afraid to zoom in onto the section you're doing and do quick strokes. Like what we often tell people is to move with your arm, not your wrist, primarily because an arm movement will get you a nice smooth stroke, where wrist movements tend to have jaggeds and you don't actually get the same level of control over your pen. Beyond that, I think you just got to keep going. Just more pictures. Pump them out.
Yeah, especially if this is like a new Christmas tablet. Like, Keep going. Keep asking questions. Look up tutorials for things. Look up tutorials for the program. Learn that program. Learn your tablet. Get to know it. You know,
Yeah,
have fun with
absolutely.
it.
Just mess around with it.
And
I
Creed
mean,
is a good program.
Oh,
you can
absolutely.
you can see from what I've done here, like just as an example, the difference between doing like the same thing with no pressure sensitivity and doing the exact same thing but with pressure sensitivity. So like these details on the inside, for example, are something you can do with thinner lines. It's okay, here's a bit of a mane, here's like a bit of floof on the inside. So instead, you can sort of use pressure sensitivity to break that up a little bit, and that was terrible, but you know you get the idea. And then on the inside, you could do sort of like much thinner because it's like, oh, there's detail. It doesn't need to define the shape as much. It just sort of needs to be there, and having that differentiating line weight is very, very helpful.
All right. Let's move on to the next one.
And I added stars. Add some stars. It fills up.
Yeah.
You know, makes it less.
Little
It gives
twinkly
it some
stars.
little more to the
Oh,
background.
you know what you could do? Oh, it's up to you. If you don't want to do this, it's absolutely fine. But I mean, this is cartoonized because it probably wouldn't work the same way in real life. But you could do like little stars reflecting on the box, on the box, the fishbowl. Yeah, and you can just put these little star reflections on the helmet, just like, oh, there's some little sparklies, and sort of overlap them a little bit with different parts so you can tell that they're reflections and not just like in the main. And then towards the edge, you can sort of like stretch them, so like, yeah, look how sort of like flat the star is, but then like somewhere over here, it's like, oh, it's a full actual star, twinkly star. Then you got like nice reflections. You could do like a shooting star. Ooh, well, that was terrible, but whoosh. and then you could just do like a whoosh. I don't know, I'm just messing around, but it's fun to experiment. You can try doing different things.
Mm-hmm.
Also, stars are totally not just white. They are all sorts of colors.
Whoosh. Whoosh. There we go.
Let's move on to the next one.
Sounds good.
Swoosh on over.
This is 1.5 horses.
1.5 horses.
It is
She's not getting
by
extra views.
Garden Data 61371. No, 61371. There we go. I need good names for her. She's sweet, caring, motherly, and works as a surrogate. Art by So
What's wrong?
Whoops.
Wait, this is a commission they put up?
Yes. Let's just
All
come
right.
up with names. Names. We need names.
Rose Lemonade.
Are we talking about the person carrying the child or the child?
Yeah, I think the OC is the thing in question.
Ah.
Well, I love her hair. So
Yeah.
how about she's
I like pink lemonade because it fits the color scheme. Rose Peach. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm bad with names. I honestly just use name generators.
I don't do it for ponies usually, but I don't make pony OCs all that often. See, I mean, she's got
Wave.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. That's good. So she's got like the baby care cutie marks. It could be something related to that. Since apparently ponies have like names after their cutie marks sometimes.
What is
maybe, like,
what is a matronly name?
Mother.
Yes.
I mean, something with care works, like caring. Like, I don't know.
Hello, mother.
Hello, mother.
No, as a child, I'm going to name my child Mother.
Why do you do this to me, mother?
Sorry.
I just want to quote Astif. I don't know about other names. I like Rose Wave. Was that what you said?
Yeah,
Blossom Wave.
Blossom Wave.
That's really nice. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully that helps and good work.
Blossom. It's like a baby blossoming.
But
You know?
you cut off when
color.
Yeah. That works. Yeah, I like that. LD, you cut off when you had your realization, but who did who's the commissioned artist who did the work on this one?
Sorry, gotta click through, clicking through. It is by Chaz Forte on Discord.
I love the way you did the hair, Chaz. Or not Chaz. Is it Chaz?
Chaz.
Did I hear that?
Chaz.
So
You've been chazzed.
Just for future ones, we don't critique other people's art unless if
Yeah.
there's like proof that
If
they're looking for it and you're just like relaying
we
through
yeah.
Reddit.
We can sort of, and we have done this before. If you're like, okay, I've designed this new OC. I got a friend to help me draw them, so let's like stay away from the art. But how can you help me critique the design? Then we can do that. We've done it before. We prefer to critique people's actual art, but we can also do sort of like design and stuff. So.
And in this case, if you're just looking for naming help, I would say don't do it on the Reddit. Come to our Discord. There's
Yeah,
plenty
I
of
was about
people
to
to
say
talk to there. You can be like, "Hey, I got this art, and I
it's
want to."
absolutely a good place for that. So yeah,
Yeah,
even you don't have to stick around if you don't want to. You can show up and get help and go away. But
be on
we're
your way.
absolutely
Yeah.
we're absolutely fine to have people come in. So it's good.
All right, on to the next horse.
Yes, sir.
This one was actually drawn by this person, I believe.
Yay.
OC character of mine, previously shown, and is by Princess Luna 2342. Okay, the numbers and the names. You guys are gonna trip me up here.
There's too many.
24601. All right. OC character of mine. I don't know what's happening with this black blob hanging off to the left. I think it's their mane.
It's their main, yes.
Okay.
I just think it's being chewed by a pony off screen. So
Yeah. So I think this is my biggest marker critique here. I have no clue what that blob is, even while thinking it's the mane. It doesn't make sense for how it's moving. You would have to have the stiffest wind or the most amount of hair gel known to man to
being
do
chewed
that.
by a goat off screen.
And
Right.
even if they were like magical, like Celestian stuff, they still have the hair come down. It's not perfectly out to
Yeah.
the left. It,
Mhm.
it has a wave and a
You're
flow.
gonna have the swooshy flow.
And don't misunderstand the tone. Sorry if it sounded,
Mm-hmm.
angry or violent or anything.
I'm so angry with your design.
What I mean is when working on those thumbnails thumbnails are magic. Consider what's happening with the character, because trying to place even an artificial character into some element of reality helps ground the picture, because when you see things that are just like whoosh, way off to the left, you're trying to stare at them and go, okay, I'm trying to make sense of this. What is this? And if something feels off that much when someone's looking at it, it's going to turn them off the picture. It's like the uncanny valley.
I agree. All right, and Fluffy, what you doing with the face there?
You didn't. I don't think you had to erase the main. I think that was a pretty good job right now.
I was just letting you.
Yeah,
I
It wasn't getting in my way. I was.
Oh, well.
You can undo your erasing.
Nah, it's fine. It's done already.
So I was just looking at adding a little bit more shape. You don't have to do this if this isn't the style you want to go for, but I do see that you're trying to go for this sort of like nice rounded, like the soft round muzzle you just want to grab sort of shape. So like I'm just helping you do that. It looks like she's coming at us third quarter, so I just wanted the snout to be brought a little bit more into the third dimension, because otherwise it's not too bad. But it is sort of slightly going off to the side, so I'm just bringing it into the middle and bringing it up a little bit, giving her some chin, some of this nice like neck, jawline, going on here. Usually when I do this, the neck will need to come out a little bit more, but I understand you're trying to sort of have them like leaning forward, so that's absolutely fine. Just ponies have some neck to them, especially if they're a majestic pony like this. And then they're gonna be reaching the shoulders around here. So there we go. Otherwise, yeah, everything's about what the other guy said. Get this mane, sort of fluffy mane. I know I'm not doing as good a job as everyone else was, but yeah, just looking at the anatomy where like the eyes, I think should. Oh yeah, your eyes are in pretty good shape. I've just moved them a little bit. I have lost my pen. It's not. Oh my god.
CPC ran off with it.
Oh no.
Like draw pile decides sometimes to just like take away agency from my drawing capabilities. Yeah, I would just move them over a little bit because I'm very picky about the sort of like the snout and nose bridge. So I always have this sort of like where the nose falls, and then there's this sort of like, if you imagine there's one on the other side as well. This pit where the eyes sort of come into. So I sort of have like a corner where my eyes meet, and on my ponies, so to speak. Yeah, so I just moved it over a little bit. Is what I'm saying. You don't have to go for anything. This is just like suggestions of how you could sort of improve your
Ooh, if I could
anatomy.
give one more quick suggestion.
Absolutely.
Make your eyelashes thicker. Eyelashes tend to be actually like
I used
nice
to have a
and
problem with my eyelashes being too thick, but you can definitely take some away from me.
you can play with it and, you know, feel how you like it, but I would definitely not make them as stringy as you have them, especially when you're doing the simplified cartoon look. Sure, in real life they are literally strings of hair, but when you're doing something so simplified as just having one, like 3 or 2, you know, just a little boop of eyelash.
This is how I used to do all my lashes, because I had a problem with doing them like this. Like I just did not want them to jut out at an angle. Like they had to have that like even swoosh like this. So I always used to do all my lashes like this. It made all my ponies look incredibly on fleek. But it works for like the really majestic, elegant ponies, like the princesses and stuff, and Rarity. So it would work for this OC too, I think.
Yeah.
Or on Fluttershy, I think always sort of fit the nice, like, super thick wavy eyelashes as well. She's a pretty pony.
Otherwise, I'd say keep it up and let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So Maze did point something out interesting.
Oh.
They've posted their OC. I'm not sure if it's just an alteration, but one of the other pictures of that OC, or at least what appears to be that OC, had a horn. I'm not quite sure if this was meant to have a horn. If so, details like that are, you know, pretty useful.
Forgetting the horn and the wings is like a rite of passage for artists, like everyone. We have all done it.
Traditional finished painting.
Yeah,
sent it off to someone, and they're like,
I have 100% like done pictures, put them on like Patreon, left it for a week, and put them on DeviantArt and like Fur Affinity and Tumblr, and like posted them everywhere, and then realized I like missed like the pony's horn or wings or something, and it's like, how did I miss like Twilight's horn or like Cadence's wings or like whatever? Because it's like it's such an important part of the character, right? But like somehow it's easy to forget.
It's an alternative universe. It's fine.
Twilight's become an Earth pony in many of my pictures.
All right, what do we got left? We got one left.
We got through the other one.
Down at the bottom.
Look at this happy little blue horse.
Look at this boy.
This is by Exobase. Redrew the first version of Exobase. She was a cult back then, improved over time, but want to improve more. Any suggestions? Yeah, you have improved.
For sure. Is redrawing on this right here.
Yeah. So left is the first one, right is the second, as based on the dates.
I feel like these eyes could use an outline. If that's your style, that's absolutely fine. It just reminds me of when I'm drawing and forget to turn that eye line art layer back on. I don't know if that's like if it's a stylistic choice or not. I feel like if everything else has a line of some sort, it would probably work to give the eyes a little bit of one as well. You don't have to give them eyelashes if you don't want to, but just a little bit of that. It can look super cute. And even if they're a dude, they can have some eyelashes. We can go in between like this and leave it sort of like a little bit between. I like giving dudes like a little bit of eyelash too. and with girls. There we go. And then you can really define the shape of the eyes if you want.
Alright. So something I would do is probably gonna... Oh wait, I'm on the wrong layer. Basically, I'll just draw it out. It'll be easier that way. This leg right here, I'd actually move over a bit more. So you got this guy. If I were to stretch him out, he most likely would actually land in this area because it would go along with this guy back here. So this guy up front, this guy, well, I guess I should say in the back. So he'll be positioned over here and he'll be more with the back guy, even though the back guy is being held up at the moment, not like physically held up, but
Pew pew.
you know what I'm saying. Sorry, I'm getting used to these tools again. It's been a while.
That's not a nice thing to say to us. What are tools?
We've been doing this for over 200 episodes, Ali.
Oh Jesus! I really stepped in it this time, didn't I? They heard me. They finally heard me.
Okay. I love the sort of pose you got going, and I sort of agree with what's being drawn over your pictures so far. I was just looking at some. I've recommended her earlier on, but like if you look at Keep Hands Cases Out, she's got some lovely work with legs. And I've just seen her doing some walking pose. Like we just did some gift art for a good friend of ours, Galen, and her one for his had him sort of like walking along, and she's got like a lovely or his OC is a filly, but yeah. And so it's got this sort of like lifted up leg pose, so it might be a good reference to go find some good Keep Hands Case art. There are lots of artists who do great work with their anatomy. It's just about looking at different sources, seeing how different artists interpret things. Not me, because I'm pretty bad with legs, but I'm good with front legs.
True.
The back leg, especially this guy. I struggle with these, but the back one that's on the back. I struggle with this so much.
It's because they're sneaky and hidden.
They're so hard to get like aligned correctly. So do not feel ashamed if you struggle with them.
So I've just corrected the back leg a bit. Just if we pop it up, that's fine. They're going to be a little weirdly balanced, but that's what it looked like you're going for. If it wasn't supposed to be popped up, drawing that box on the ground will really help this.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little off, but the idea is there. Just trying to establish the plane that they're sitting on, standing on, existing on. It very much helps make sure that all the feet are properly planted. And definitely going to also agree with Maze, the tail. The base of the tail generally comes out of the back of the spine. Holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
Back of the spine. Here we go. So they create this mass and then it just sort of flows down. So the only difference you really need to do to it is just the bottom part where the dock sort of hangs around. If you're just to open it up, like the gap between the flank and the tail, you're gonna have that nice separation that's going on there, and it's gonna help show off that, hey, the tail actually comes out of the behind. It's not just like this giant stick-on thing.
Yeah, like this. Like if I had to quick do a shape, like here's a side view tail, but then you twist it and suddenly it's like, okay, so we have it coming out of the butt, and then oh look, it overlaps itself. So it's like you have this like 3D shape going on. Ooh. Magic of overlap. You can see if I just finish the line over here, it's like a whole thing. I know it's messy.
All right.
Forgive me.
You got anything else on this, Fluffy?
No, we just don't have CBC with us, so I'm doing some fluffing in her honor.
That is
perfect.
Good. All right. Well, that appears to be all the pictures tossed at us this week. We should be back next week too.
Yes, we should.
Until next time, goodbye.
Unless we get sucked into an intergalactic pony war.
Yeah.
Bye.